Dirty Sports, episode 841, live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Southern California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Good morning, Andy.
Good morning. And I just want to bring in our third, number 3. The big 3 is back. The one and only Tug Coker.
Hello, Andy.
Tug, how you doing?
Joe.
Hello, Tug.
We talked before the show. If anybody's watching this on YouTube or gets the video, Joe said Tug looked like he's being held hostage in like an Afghani prison.
I'm from an undisclosed location.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in a bunker. It's like how they set up the room so that you can't tell where they're keeping him. And Tug through like little taps on his face is trying to give us Morse code. I'm in the hills of Tora Bora.
No, this is take season. And I'm just trying to hide from so many hot takes about the finals, about live golf. I can't do it anymore. So I've hidden myself away from Stephen A. Smith, the Mad Dog, Bill Mickelson, and anyone else who has a hot take about anything.
That's why we put out the Tug signal, because we were like, I was like, we've talked live golf here. It's U.S. Open Thursday. The Boston Celtics have their backs against the wall tonight. Those are 3 topics. Those are 3 Tug topics. And I was like, you know what? Stephen A. Smith wants him. Max Kellerman wants him. Skip and Shannon want him, but we're going to get him. We're going to get Tug Coker.
It's right, exactly right. And I just want to say one thing. My dad is flying to Boston tomorrow to see his sister. I knew about this about a week ago. He booked his ticket like last week. And I said, Dad, an unbelievable sports day has presented itself. You could go to the U.S. Open during the day and Game 6 at night. That's an incredible day. I actually looked at it myself, but tickets are, ridiculous. But if you're lucky enough to plan this out in advance, could be an all-time day.
Yeah.
If you're in the Boston world, hopefully, the Boston Celtics find a way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But incredible day to go from U.S. Open into Boston Celtics game at night.
Is your father going to either of those things?
Say again?
Is your father going to either of those things?
He might go to the U.S. Open on the weekend, but he's not going until tomorrow. So I try to get him to move his flight, but he did it once, I think, for the 2008 finals or 2010, one of the two. He did fly in for one of those games, but not this year. Maybe he doesn't believe. Maybe that's the real reason. He's just not going to waste money on a team that he thinks is going to peter out in Game 6.
I feel like we've talked about this before. We've talked about the Tug sports allegiance, but the last few weeks, I kept assuming that your Boston Celtics love was directly linked to your playing Larry Bird on Broadway. But this is a family thing. Like, your dad's a Celtics fan.
My dad was born in Boston. My grandmother passed away a few years ago, but she lived in Lexington, Mass. My aunt still lives in Arlington. I went to grad school in Boston and hung out, with my family. I had a great aunt that lived there. So yeah, my dad's growing up, his favorite team was Boston Celtics. His favorite player was John Havlicek. For any new listeners out there, just a quick nugget. Joe's alluding to the fact that I did play Larry Bird in a Broadway play. And 10 years ago this year, my mother in the play, Dee Dee O'Connell, great character actor, just won the Tony this week for best performance in a lead in a play. So the pedigree was amazing in this play. It just had nothing to do with me. I might have sunk that play single-handedly.
What are they called, the Tonys? What does that stand for? Something?
There's a longer name that Tony's involved. It's named after someone that I think is an Italian name, and they shorten it to Tony's. It's Anthony something. I forget what the name of it is. Forgive me. Some other aficionado will tell us. But I will say, the reason I bring this up is because when I visited Larry Bird after the show closed, I went back to Indiana and I hung out with him. You guys know the story. And there's a picture of John Havlicek on the wall. And I got up and I said, "Oh, this picture is amazing. You know, my dad's favorite player is John Havlicek." And Larry Bird says, "You want that picture? Take it." I got another one. I got another one at home. Took it off the wall. Larry Bird signed it. I gave it to my dad for Father's Day. Incredible.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great story. So you just took it off the wall. Are you at his house?
Right off the wall.
Are you in an office?
Right off the wall in his office. I asked him to sign it. He signed it. I gave it to my dad for Father's Day.
Well, this is great. We'll get your take on this. We've got to get your takes on a lot of things this episode, but one of them, you know, just so that you know, we're not white supremacists, obviously, but we did get a phone call a couple episodes ago saying you got to put together your all-white NBA all-time team. And at our first run through, we had Jerry West at shooting guard. We've since replaced him with Luka, who we had a blind spot for. We're like, maybe go Luka, but multiple people saying Havlicek over West. There was a lot of Havlicek over West. And I was like, I don't think that the statistics can argue that, but a lot of Boston fans are turned for that argument.
I mean, Havlicek is one of those great all-time. I mean, really, he has such longevity in the league. And one of the, you know, it was for a long time the greatest scorer for the Celtics. I believe Paul Pierce has replaced him at the top, but man, it's a tough one to go either one. I mean, you know, it bleeds into the famous like championships situation again,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Luka so early is maybe a little too early to call it because, you know, Jerry West is amazing. Had incredible finals. The first year they tabulated the MVP. He won it in a losing, you know, effort. We had like averaged like 37 game or something.
Well, I ended up deferring to Luka because our entire starting lineup has at least one league MVP.
Is Dirk on it?
Dirk, Nash, Larry Bird, Jokic, all
Jokic is already getting in there. Wow.
I mean, to me, it was either that or Bill Walton at the 5. I didn't know. So we went Jokic, and everybody's got at least one MVP except our shooting guard spot. No league MVP for West or Havlicek. We went Luka on the grounds that he will eventually get an MVP.
This is where the eras play such a big part because you think Mikan would like make a move.
At least just for the drills alone, for the ball handling drills alone.
Now I have to ask
about like how there's no what's that?
I was gonna say when you give this to your dad, because that's an amazing gift. Is he such a diehard fan? Did he get emotional? Like I'm trying to think. I would get emotional. Something he gave you something like that, and I was that big of a fan.
I don't recall him being moved to tears, and I'm gonna call him afterwards and ask him why. Maybe there's just something a deeper issue. This is like the entire women everywhere on Instagram are like, see, this is why men need more therapy. Andy's in therapy every weekend. He's like, if my kid hands me that, I just immediately break down in tears. I hug him, you know? Yeah, it was. I mean, I remember him being really excited about it because I usually like more in the practical gift realm, and so this is more of like hey, this is a really cool. I thought, you know, what an amazing story. But yeah, I think my dad was, as I might have alluded to many years ago in one of our shows. My dad is a letter writer. I think I told Michael Costa, friend of the show. I jumped on one of his podcasts years ago, and I told him that my dad writes me like, I think I said 10 letters a month, but he writes me probably, it's gone down because I go to my kids now, but he still probably writes me two postcards or letters a month. So he might have expressed his emotion through word. He's more of a wordsmith.
Well, we have that in common too, because I'm a letter writer as well.
Yeah. Well, maybe my dad is related to you somehow.
Maybe. Which a quick rug nug from that. I wrote my brother bought my parents' house, so I have been kind of holding down the fort the last 20 plus months, and there's obviously a lot of emotion with me being here, and it's the only house I knew. But my brother was pretty fun. I wrote all my brothers a letter, basically thanking them, letting me kind of hold down the fort and, kind of say my goodbye as he buys it, and we'll completely renovate the whole inside. So I wrote my brothers a letter, and my brother just said to me the other day, he's like, that's such a sweet letter you wrote to each brother, and we really appreciate that. He's like, but can you finish painting the outside like you said you were going to do 2 years ago? Next time you want to write a letter, put that energy and that thought into painting. And I was like, yeah, he's got a good point there.
Can't get out of it. Yeah, I mean, to put a button on my dad's story, my dad was born in Boston. My family then moved, but they lived in Ohio for a few years, actually when he was growing up, and then they moved back to Boston after he lived in Ohio. So yeah, that's where that's where I became a Celtics fan. Part of the fun of doing the Magic Bird play was I had my dad sent up all my posters that I had from growing up as a Celtics fan, and it was funny, like Cornbread Maxwell is on a poster, like good players for the Celtics, but it isn't like Cornbread's pretty much known to only Celtics fans. DJ, Ainge, all these guys.
It's like how every Knicks fan I knew, literally every one of my Knicks fans' friends, we all had the John Starks, the dunk poster on our walls growing up. Yeah. But it's like only Nick, like no one else in the world had that poster, but yet every single Knicks fan did.
Yeah. So it is fun to go back and visit, some of these things that we think about. This is the first time the Celtics have made a move really since 2012. I think that's kind of when the Paul Pierce, Garnett, I hesitate to say Ray Allen because of the animosity between them all, but that team sort of made one last move, and then it's been what was it, basically 8 to 10 years in the making. I mean, the thing I love about the Celtics team is, I hope most fans appreciate, is it's homegrown for the most part. This is like in some ways the Warriors do it similarly. They made some savvy moves in the offseason to pick up some guys, but I think it's fun to root for teams where you've seen everyone grow up from the beginning, whether it's Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, Pritchard's trying to like show that he's not, the lights aren't too bright for him, which is, I feel like we've seen a little bit, but the Williams, the Williams is really Horford and Derek White are the two guys they made moves on. And Horford was a Celtic for a few years in the past. So that's always fun to watch teams, kind of move up the ranks together. And the Warriors are the same thing. We saw the same thing with the Warriors. Yeah.
And obviously with the Warriors having their Durant run that we have talked about at length, but like you said, the Horford, it's like when you can't build a team of 15 guys that are all homegrown. Like, at least if you're going to have free agents that you sign, it's like those role players, and you feel like you have your core and then you're adding additional pieces, as opposed to, hey, we've got a team now, let's go out and sign the one big guy who's going to do all the heavy lifting. It's nice that, the real kind of driving forces, almost no stars with the exception of Jayson Tatum, quote unquote stars, but all of your stars essentially homegrown Boston guys. Now, how just like tell me how you're feeling right now. What's your confidence level in a game 6? What's your confidence level in the series? We've talked about it. You messaged me, I think before game 5, with the odds on the series win. And you're like, I still kind of like the Celtics plus 110, even though they've got 2 road games. And I said, I'm with you. I've been on Boston in 7 since the beginning. I haven't picked a game wrong yet in this. I think it's Boston tonight. How are you feeling?
I mean, I'm buoyed by your confidence, because I'm not as confident in the situation. But what I do like is, as an odds watcher, just like yourself, like I have been watching the odds for the Celtics throughout the playoffs, and even when they were in blowing games in the last 2 series, the bookmakers showed me they still had confidence in this team. They weren't willing to give away, situations where they had to go on the road to Milwaukee in game 7 and win. It still felt like, but the bookmakers told me with the line, they were saying, hey, we still think this team can do this and probably should do this. When I text you after game 4, that they were still only plus 110 in the series, that made me feel good, because even though they got to win 1 game and their home game, somehow they got to win 2 games. I mean, assuming they're going to have to win game 6. I think I think we talked about this a little bit, but Game 7 makes me feel like the pressure shifts. Finally, the pressure shifts back to Golden State, where Golden State feels like they've been in a situation in Game 7 before with Kyrie and LeBron, where they felt like they got a little bit tight in that game. And I'm hoping that would be a situation where the Celtics felt like they had nothing to lose. The pressure still feels like it's on the Celtics right now tonight to get it to Game 7. So I am nervous in the sense that right now I haven't seen a lot of like free-flowing ball movement here. Like the DNA of this team is to kind of, it's stuck in the DNA, like kernels of their first half of the year, which is they don't move the ball. They kind of get stuck into hero ball. They start the offense too late in the shot clock.
There's not you're really what the Celtics are missing for a team that's made it all the way to, a Game 6 in the NBA Finals is just like a true playmaker, like a guy who's a playmaker first and foremost.
And Tatum has improved that skill set so much this year. It's like even when he's been bad shooting, and he's been pretty bad. I think if you listen to Bill Simmons' pod this week, they said that he's shooting like 29-30% from two. And his twos are layups or like elbow jumpers. You know what I mean? He's shooting 29-30%. He has trouble finishing at the rim. Like anyone I'm trying to see get to the next level, like his inability to finish around contact is that's just a skill he's got to develop in the off season, because basically I just felt like for the first time, Jeff Van Gundy said a good thing. We were hungover from the meltdown of Game 4. We kind of came back in the third, but the pool shot at the end of the third quarter it shouldn't deflate you. You've come back down from it shouldn't deflate you. You started the third quarter. We've been blown out of every third quarter coming into Game 5, and the Celtics actually won the third quarter. They still happen to be down by 1 point, but they're right back in it. But somehow that shot had a little bit more. It just brought the energy back into the fan base a little bit. It shows like we're struggling to guard. Poole. Clay's like revitalized himself in some way in the back half of the series. That's been
even fake Clay is making moves. Did you guys see that?
Fake Clay's making some moves. Yeah. He's getting busted now though.
But can we talk about that for a quick minute?
And he doesn't want to talk about sports. And he's like, "This is a sports podcast."
No. That is sports. Have you guys seen the video?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I just want to know what Tug's father's emotional reaction to fake Clay is. Let's go.
He'll write us a letter, guys. It'll come in snail mail in 2.5 weeks. He'll tell me.
I just think, again, in the age of like technology, and you think, oh, I can't get past anything. Somebody literally dresses up, gets their whole hair cut, the facial hair, like Klay Thompson. Next thing you know, he's shooting on the court for 10 minutes before the game. Did anybody think, why is Klay Thompson, if you watch the video, it's like a YouTube star. I don't even know his name. Why is Klay Thompson walking into Chase Arena already in his uniform? Well, like no one said, "Hey, dude, why is he already in his uniform 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it was?"
It's amazing, but historically, nobody has a worse track record at their job than NBA security. Like, how many stories over the years have we had about like, if you're not 6'7" and you're white, you could be league MVP Steve Nash. You're going to get like harassed by security guards. Like, sir, this is for NBA players only. He's like, I'm the 2-time MVP. They're like, sure, dude, sure. But if you look anything like an NBA player, you can stroll in from a ticketed gate in warmups, and they're like, oh, sir, the court's ready for you. Like, there's no one like historically worse at their job than NBA security.
It's pretty wild, but I'll bring it back to sports for you, Tug. I want to talk about the turnovers. I know what you're saying about ball movement. I just, the turnovers to me, if they cleaned up the turnovers, I would argue like this series is completely the other, like they're running away with this series, because the turnovers, especially when the Warriors go on these runs, the Celtics, I would call them like their turnovers I see when I coach the fourth grade boys.
Sloppy turnovers.
You know what I'm saying? Like their turnovers where I'm like, this isn't great Warrior defense. This is just a reckless pass or poor dribbling, whatever it is.
No, you're absolutely right. The turnovers are horrendous. I mean, Tatum did do do something historic in this playoffs. He became the all-time leader in turnovers in a playoff year, surpassing LeBron this year. So he's the all-time leader in turnovers for one playoff run. So Tatum's got that in history books, which is unfortunate. I agree with you. I think this is one of the problems of converting Marcus Smart into the point guard. It's not really a true point guard. You're going to see person have those problems. And like anytime you play the other best team 7 games in a row, and this has been happening throughout the playoffs, but they've been able to jump the hurdle of turnovers until now. I thought it wouldn't kill them, honestly, because Golden State is like a mirror image to Boston. They're also careless with the ball at times.
Yeah, they've always
Steph has been known. I'll never forget when Steph was playing Game 7 against Cleveland, and he would do it. He like did a behind the back pass, like straight out of bounds, like 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
I was like, this is unbelievable. But Tatum,
not something you see from the rest of the top 10 players of all time. Reckless, crunch time, around the back turnovers. But
Steph is, I'll save that debate for another day. But you're right, the turnovers have been awful. I do think if you can clean that up, there's been a lot of like sudden shift of the Celtics being like, oh, they're the best team, to no, they're the worst team. But it is Game 6. You know what I mean? I think that the energy is like it's not. This isn't like a team where they're clearly overmatched.
That's what I always say when it's like, it doesn't matter how it goes. If it was 3-0 and then it's 3-2, or if it's, whatever, like people always go, I'm like 3-2 is as close as the series can be. And if you're in Game 6, somebody's up 3-2. That's how it goes. And
they're on serve, right? For all intents and purposes, right? It's
exactly.
Their house. You know what I mean? So,
I think, I had Boston in 7 from the beginning. I'm still, my opinion is still, I think Boston wins tonight. And then at Game 7, who goddamn knows? Like I have, I don't care about who's at home. I don't care about the Warriors playoff experience. Like all that stuff is a factor for a series overall. But to me, in a Game 7, it's just like who nuts up. Like that's it. And in any given year, we've seen it before where a team you didn't expect comes out and plays a great Game 7. Let me ask you one thing, Tug, because I was arguing with, I was sort of playing devil's advocate with Andy Laz on the Dirty Slides the other day, but you and I were talking about Tatum's sort of real issue in this series has been, that Andrew Wiggins is the Tatum stopper, and he's getting his points, but he's doing it with an immense amount of a historic record-breaking amount of turnovers, an extremely low shooting percentage. Dare I say this? He's doing Kobe Bryant cosplay on Instagram every day, and then suddenly he's showing up and going 8 for 25, but he still gets his 28 points. The ghost of Kobe lives within Jayson Tatum in this finals. But we were talking about why don't they figure out a way to not have him, matched up with Wiggins seemingly every time he comes down. And that maybe is something that they'll figure out. But Steph's obviously having a great series. But when you consider that the second best player in this series on paper, and maybe the first, depending on how you want to argue it, is Jayson Tatum, and he's being sort of neutralized by Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins is doing his fair share of scoring. I don't want to ask you how, to talk about a Warriors win of the series as a Celtics fan, but like, there's got to be an argument here if they win this series that Andrew Wiggins is this finals MVP. Am I right or am I wrong?
I've really been impressed by Wiggins in this series, and you're right. We talked about it offline about how he's just been awesome defensively and rebounding, just owning the boards. I mean, that's another thing where the Warriors are running small, and we're not able to take advantage of that. So I think there is a way that Wiggins could be MVP if he has an amazing performance tonight. But I feel like the Steph game alone is enough to carry the weight. Plus the sort of the narrative that people know he's never won one.
Yeah, I think that's what'll end up doing it if he gets it. But I was saying to Laz the other day, like, what percentage of Steph's scoring for the series does Wiggins have to do where you also add on the defense, the rebounding, everything else? And he's like, if he does 75% of Steph's scoring and all that, like, I mean,
he's averaging like I looked it up. He's averaging he's like 18 and a half and 10 and a half points rebounds. And then you throw in defense. I mean,
and the Tatum stopper.
You know what it is? It's Powell versus Kobe 2010 Celtics Lakers finals, right? Like you've always argued you'd give it to Powell.
I mean, yeah,
Powell is, look, Wiggins Steph still does so much for their offense. He allows so many open jumpers. And Wiggins was hitting threes, but they're hitting threes because Steph has drawn a double team where, they kick it out to the right person and he hits a three. Otto Porter was also hitting a bunch of threes early in the season, in it too. I mean, I to play devil's advocate, I've been really impressed with Wiggins, but it's probably similar to the sense where, we talked about Michael and Scotty. Like, you're asking Scotty to do a lot of the dirty work defensively, and he does that. But I think, Michael's still the MVP of that team. I think Steph. I mean, when Durant is so dominant with the Warriors a few years ago, it's hard not to say that he's the best player on the team. But now Steph is doing that, and Steph has been off. He's had the last game was bad, by his standards, didn't hit a three, still scored 17 or maybe more. I don't know what it was.
It was 16, but he was 7 for 21 from the field.
Yeah,
7 for 24.
That happens. But, he was 50% from three before that game. He's lethal from the three right now. And so it's hard for me to say, if there's a MVP pie.
Yeah, I'd
probably put 80% Steph.
Sure. I would say the same. I want to bring up home court though, because we talk about a game 7 and if it happens, if the Celtics win tonight, I just think home court really matters in game 7. And I can't think of a place that has a weaker home court. Like if you compare home court, obviously you can't compare Boston to San Francisco, but just watching the game, I love hearing the sound, and you hear the sound from the Garden versus the Chase Center. I mean, it's not even my point is, if you flip that, the advantage that Boston would have is huge. And then if you go the other way, where game 7 would be in San Francisco, I just think that plays into Boston's favor so much because in my opinion, that crowd is weak, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go. Bill Simmons has been to all 3 games of the finals and in Golden State, and he sort of vetted that fan base he says it's not Oracle, but it wasn't bad.
Okay.
It would probably
it's not Oracle, but it's not Miami. It
hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, it's not like Jimmy Buffett's the loudest fan in the stadium.
Right. But what I will say to that, Andy, is I agree with you, but the Celtics won game 7 on the road against Milwaukee. They're basically 500 since the Brooklyn series at home in the playoffs this year. Like, they lost 2 games at home against Milwaukee. They lost 2 games at home against the Heat. They lost 1 game already to the Warriors. Like, I just don't – the teams that are that tested, like the Warriors, I don't feel like they fear being on the road, where I do actually feel like it's weirder that they have some sort of scar tissue from game 7 playing Cleveland a few years ago, and just I think Steph would probably have a good game, but threes get the rim gets a little smaller in the game 7s, and I think the biggest problem with Boston is the first couple games they were better at getting easy buckets. I mean, Steph 3 was it's going in, but Rob Williams getting an oop. I mean, Al Horford must be so tired. He's kind of disappeared a little bit in this playoff series. We need to be Celtics need to be imposing their physicality a little more. Looney's the only guy with size on their team.
Yeah.
And so I need to see more easy baskets.
Well,
I've the turnovers, like you said.
I've flipped back and forth in terms of who I'm rooting for in the series. I talked myself into, I picked the Celtics in 7. I talked myself into rooting for the Warriors, as I've said numerous times now, because it's unhinged Steph stans are still more reasonable than just Boston fans getting their championship and fucking Patrick McGillicuddy or whatever, the kid who's seen 40 championships with his poster walking down fucking whatever. And then plus the Steve Kerr, I liked Steve Kerr this postseason with the gun control, everything. I just thought it was fun to see him step up and be a voice. So I was like, I'm on that. Then, of course, the unhinged Steph stands get in our phone calls and start arguing, it's Michael Jordan, Kobe, Steph all time. Those are the top three. And then you're like, fuck you guys. I don't give a shit. Now I'm rooting for the Celtics. So I've gone back and forth, but I can say one thing for sure. Tonight, I am rooting for Boston because we have to have a game 7. Let's get a game 7. We deserve a game 7.
It's good for the sport. It's good for sports fans.
They didn't send Scott Foster. Scott Foster is not reffing tonight, which is usually known around the league as the extender of the playoffs. He's not on the call. I've been really kind of disappointed with some of the refereeing in this series. I just felt like, I like rooting for the Warriors. The Warriors are a cool team to root for. I love their style of play. All the things that Joe said, I agree with. I mean, Draymond annoys me. It's amazing to see his inability to score. In Game 7, the whole Cleveland series, he was amazing. He had 31 in Game 7. I don't know how he can't hit it. He can't shoot at all. Right?
There was that 3. Was that before the end of half? Where was the 3 where he was wide open?
I think that was
before the end of half. I mean, wide open, and he didn't just miss it. It was like fake Klay out there shooting. It was bad.
I think the long rumored Draymond crying in his car, weeping to the point where he has Siri call Kevin Durant and he begs him. I feel like that was preempt. I feel like as the phone was ringing, KD, he's like, listen, God, if you give me KD, you can take my jump shot. And then that was it. He made a deal with the devil.
But and one of the advantages the Warriors have, I didn't really foresee, was they have a little bit more depth at the end of the bench where they can get, they start Otto Porter. Iguodala is he's kind of on his last leg, but can give you some minutes.
He's Coach Iggy at this point.
Yeah. But there's a couple guys that come up. Poole is kind of a fun spark.
Yeah.
That comes off the bench. Derek White for the Celtics is a real key because he can play defensively, but is the moment too big for him? I want to see him come in and hit some jumpers, go to the hole. We just need to be aggressive. Celtics need to be aggressive. I'll say we a lot, but
it's all right. I feel like you say we a lot when you're watching a lot of different teams.
That's true. That's true. If the Warriors win, I'm going to be a we Warriors fan. I'll say we won. We did it.
Now let's transition.
I just want to say one thing, Joe. One thing. I've done an impossible task, which I've brainwashed my 6-year-old who lives in LA to be a Celtics fan.
Oh, that's great.
May get him beat up. It may get him beat up. But you know what? It satisfies my ego. And so that's all I care about.
Honestly, it won't get him beat up because LA fans are just they just blow in the wind, like the flags they're on their put on their cars. Boston's out there beat LA, the kids in his class. It's Dad, do I have to worry about wearing my Celtics jersey to class? I don't know. Maybe you get caught in a TikTok or something. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and also LA fans are very ignorant from my experience. So your son's going to go in with the hot facts. He's going to go in with the Tug nugs, and he's just going to be spitting that hot fire to the Kobe stan who's trying to argue that he's top 10.
Well, yeah, but the bad feeling I have is that if they lose, this is no joke. They'll go down 5-2 and with 10:34 in the first quarter, and he's crying already. I'm like, son, I cannot watch this game with you if you're going to do
I was that kid. I was that kid.
You were.
Yeah. Go to a baseball game with my dad. The Mets give up a couple runs. I just want to go home. He's like, there's 8 innings left. They're down 2 runs. I don't even want a fucking hot dog. Take me home. Gary Carter's not even in the lineup. Why are we here?
What else do we got on the agenda? So my feeling is, just to put a button on this game tonight, the Celtics are favored by 3.5. The points have not mattered at all in this series. They shouldn't matter tonight. I'm hoping that Celtics. My head says the Warriors beat the will down of the Celtics. They break their hope, their spirit. But my heart says, as Joe alluded to, We need a Father's Day with a Game 7 U.S. Open, just incredible sports day for the dads out there. So let's see a Game 7.
Well,
I believe in it.
Let's transition to a golf discussion. Before we do that, I want to remind all the dirt balls that we are working with our friends at Stakes for our specially branded Dirty Sports NFTs. And I sent those to you earlier in the day, Joe. They're for the Dirtball fam. And I know we got a bunch of young listeners, Joe, who love the NFT game. Now, you and I are kind of the okay boomer crowd on this, but it's a hot thing with the kids, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you sent it's funny because you sent them to me and I was like, but these aren't the NFTs. These are screenshots of the NFTs, because that's the thing with the NFTs.
Oh,
like,
true.
It's more than just this. Like there is there's a digital trail. So I'm just looking at, basically a forgery of our NFT. I don't actually own it. Now you, the Dirtball, can truly own it if you play with Stakes.
Yeah. So basically, guys, over the next 2 weeks, which now it's about 10 days, this week and next week, we'll be asking questions in the Stakes app where you can bet against us to win the exclusively branded Dirty Sports NFTs. So just go to playwithstakes.com/dirty for your chance to win those exclusive Dirty Sports NFTs.
And they are pretty cool. They're branded. There's a Dirtball series one. There's a True Fan series one.
Yeah.
They're sparkling. They look like digital, medallions, if you will.
Yeah. So again, go to playwithstakes.com/dirty, download the app, play on your iPhone for a chance to win those NFTs. All right, Tug, let's move into the golf discussion.
That's what I wanted to say with Tug. I was like, Tug's been doing a lot of we. I'm like, now is Tug, are you we when talking about the PGA, or are you we when talking about the Live Tour, the 54 Tour, the LIV Tour, the It's Lit Tour?
Yeah. Listen, I'm a free agent. So whoever wants to send me the most money, I will be joining that tour. So the jury's still out. I haven't officially joined Live, but I'm listening.
Well, Tug, you and I have talked for a while about making some golf podcast content. Yep. Maybe we just start the first Live Tour golf. There's plenty of PGA podcasts.
That would be amazing.
Let's just do the very first Live Tour one. Dive in head first. Well, let me ask you this.
The Live thing is very interesting to me. Yeah, ask me questions. I'll answer.
My very first question, because I said this, and you're way, way, way more of a golf fan than me. But obviously, I'm new to golf fandom. I'm new to following the PGA. I'm new to following the players. But obviously, the quality of golf from top to bottom of people in each of these tournaments is going to be way stronger from the PGA Tour. But I said a few episodes ago on this show, I said, in terms of interesting people, in terms of people that like, there's always a story with them. There's always something that they're involved in. Like the Live Tour did a pretty good job, I would say, taking, 80% of the most interesting golfers on tour. I mean, from Bryson, DJ, Patrick Reed always coming with, some sort of, he's always causing a ruckus and his cheating scandals. Phil, obviously. I mean, no one moves the needle like Tiger. No, but obviously Tiger's, spotty right now in his thing. But like the other guys who you talk about as like sort of the headline grabbers that are still on the PGA, like, I don't know, Rory McIlroy. It's like, he was a big deal for a long time, but he's not that interesting a guy. Jordan Spieth, people love him, but like, I feel like their lead dogs, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, it's a pretty vanilla group that are kind of now the lead dogs outside of Tiger.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment. I think like Spieth is one of the most charismatic golfers because he's all over the place. It really is like you and me. He's just unbelievable. Like he'll blow a drive off the planet, but he'll still get a par or make birdie. I mean, he's compelling to watch in that way. How dramatic these people are off the course, I mean, you're right. I mean, even like Poulter, Sergio, guys who are a little bit older are still joining the Live Tour.
I feel like Koepka, obviously he's got a personality, and he got involved in the Bryson beef, and people love him, and he's sort of a heartthrob and whatever. Like maybe he is one of the more interesting guys to stick around. But in terms of like, I think personalities, like almost off the course personalities, and I'm sure it was part of their strategy is targeting those guys first and foremost. But it just seems like they did a pretty good job kind of stealing headline grabbers.
I mean, from the headline standpoint, they're doing an amazing job. Now they're also in talks to potentially buy what was the Euro Tour, now they're called the DP World Tour. So if they buy that, I mean, how much does that legitimize them as an entity? From a disruptor standpoint, I'm like way in on it. Like I just like people thinking differently and disruption on that end. I think there's, obviously the ethical questions that people want to. There's the big debate online about what the ethics are about taking money or not taking money. I really don't try to get involved with. If it's up to each person to figure out how they want to handle that. What I'm interested in is how you make this. How would you make this like interesting? It's 54 people. It's not a lot of players. I mean, what happens when they fill up? You got to feel like more people are kind of lying in the weeds, waiting to see how it does, because people want free money.
Yeah. Well, there was I saw a video the other day. I think it was an Instagram reel or something like that. It was a quick thing about the guy who finished last in the last tournament made $120,000. His PGA Tour earnings before that were $39,000.
Yeah.
And he's been an up and down on the PGA Tour, on the Korn Ferry Tour kind of thing. It's like in one tournament, he tripled his tour earnings that he's been grinding at. And it's like, if you're that guy, it's one thing to be DJ and it's one thing to be Bryson, but if you're that guy, who gives a fuck if it's the Nazi tour? Like you're just trying to make money playing golf.
I actually know who that person is. It's Andy Ogletree, who I believe won the 2019 U.S. Amateur. So he's a pretty young guy, had some, injuries. And so he went on an interview I watched that basically said that he was having trouble finding starts. So it was just about him, having the opportunity to play professionally and not having to like drive 12 hours to play like a Monday qualifier or something like that. The problem is with guys like that, when you finish dead last, this isn't a free lunch. You get one of those, and then Bryson, Patrick Reed starts showing up. Why do they want to keep you around? Then what happens to you? What happens when you're not one of the 54? Have you shot yourself in the foot? So that to me is going to be interesting to watch when these lower tier guys who've been asked to be a part of this are bumped for more stars that want free money.
And then they've already been sort of banned from the PGA.
Correct. So that to me is an interesting monitor for a lot of these players.
Yeah, that's a great point. I never thought of that.
Now, let me ask you something, Tug, because I'm confused by it. So when this happened, the PGA Tour's reaction was, you do this, you're out. Like there's no changing your mind. There's no going back. But multiple guys playing in the US Open. How does this work? Why is this possible? Obviously we're here. I'm here for it. This is the real drama we want. The coming back and answering questions about your tour while you're on the other tour.
Yeah, we've seen this.
How is this possible?
It's possible because the U.S. Open is run by a different organization than the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour, the PGA, the professionals association, they run the PGA Tour. This is run by the USGA, the United States Golf Association. They run different events. So USGA at this point is like, hey, this is not our problem. These guys, we're an open event. Amateurs can qualify. If you qualified for this event, you can play in our event. I believe the Open Championship, or the British Open, is, a lot of Americans call it, they're the same way. The Masters, I'm hearing behind the scenes, is really working closely with the PGA. So that'll be interesting because we have so many Masters winners on the Live Tour right now with Phil, DJ, Schwartzel, Sergio, and more and more. So that'll be really, the Masters is basically the crown jewel of golf events, and everyone wants to play it.
Well, Well, you know, I take your mindset of like, again, I'm not a golf guy, but Joe knows how much like I have been so intrigued by this because, like you said, it's something new that kind of throws a wrench into what we know. And I like people who are trying something new, and I like competition in general, right? Like this is what I would call like, even though it's not an American back thing, like this is your classic capitalistic competition. I got a product that's better, or I got a product that's going to pay more. Let's see how this plays out. And Joe brought up a point. I don't want to get too much into the ethics stuff, but Joe did bring up a great point, I think recently, of like, when the PGA tries to cry foul and blood money, as if golf has been as if golf hasn't been very exclusive to different types of minorities, whether it's women or different people of color. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's where I laugh. Like, dude, look at your history. Like I think it's hilarious when you have a sport, which I would historically call, and I think it's backed, right, a very upper class, wealthy white sport, is now trying to call out the other sport. I'm the Michael Jackson gif eating popcorn. I'm the dude who knows nothing about golf, and I'm just going to eat my popcorn and watch this play out because I think it's great. Like bring on the chaos.
I agree with you. I mean, again, each person has to answer their own question. Like, what's my number? You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't, you know, if you're older and if you're like Louis, you know, if Louis is still competitive last year, Louis Oosthuizen, but like some guys are not competitive. So, you know, you take them money, but I guess they have to answer the question, like how much money is enough money. And I think a bigger point is people who are sort of crying foul, just want them to be honest. And say, listen, it's not about growing the game. I'm here to take the money. It's like I'm being offered a lot of money, and and so if people said that, I think you'd probably quiet down the naysayers by 50%. If you just said, I just want I don't want my kids to worry about money. I don't want my kids to worry about money. I don't want just get to the point of it.
No, I agree with you.
And that's the thing. I think that and I totally understand these guys like Brooks the other day being like, I'm done talking about this. This is annoying to talk about because it really is. I mean, the layers to it. It's like these gotcha questions that all these reporters are trying to do. Like, I mean, I heard one the other day. It's like, would there be a line ethically? I forget who was asked it, but like, is there somebody you wouldn't play for if the money was just so good? Like, where is your ethical line? And I just think that that's like, it's such a shameful thing to try to put these guys who are just trying to make money playing golf to like answer where their ethics are, because also, and I know that the press won't do it. And I know that the golfers won't answer, but like, if it was me, I'd be the guy out there being like, we're out here standing like American ethics. Like I got to be like, suddenly I have to pretend that Saudi Arabia is like infinitely worse, or like, Justin Thomas the other day saying, oh, I'm a little disappointed in these guys. It's like, I'd love to hear Justin Thomas's take on Saudi Arabia's treatment of homosexuals. It's like, Justin, as a guy who recently lost sponsors for throwing around homophobic slurs, how do you feel about playing for a place that it's like, I mean, it's so cloudy and it's such murky waters that I hate this thing. Like these gotcha, like you're a bad person for doing this.
There's a lot of like whataboutisms, like what about this? And I feel like people say, oh, if it was Elon Musk putting up the money or Amazon, and I'm like, that's also a very difficult. Those people are also fraught with ethical issues too. If you go down the line, I mean,
just every guy out there who's on the PGA Tour wearing some mega banks logo. Like, I don't know if you guys know how billionaires tend to treat the world, or like how Nike makes their shoes. It's like this whole like you've crossed the line here. It's like, Phil Mickelson has been rocking KPMG for, it's like, most investment banks aren't out there, feeding the poor.
I guess it comes down to the end of it. I mean, I personally would have trouble with it, but if I'm also like, you want to feed 3 kids. I mean, it's a tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
Well, it is. It's a moral. That's my thing. Like, I hate when people are casting stones on either side. It's a moral dilemma that, like you said, Doug, each person has to choose. But I have a big announcement actually that I want to make here on Dirty Sports about my new tour. I don't know if you had heard this, Joe, if it had leaked. I have my own Andy Ruther tour. It's the HG tour. It's HGT. It's the Happy Gilmore tour where and this would be great in Venice Beach. Your caddy has to be a homeless person, just like the movie Happy Gilmore. So I'm going to try to institute that. So that is a way to actually bring people who have not been, they've been ostracized in society and they've been outcast. So you have to have a someone who does not have a house.
The most Andy Ruther idea I've heard ever.
The Happy Gilmore tour. What do you think, Tug?
Yeah.
Are you on board?
I need to hear more. I'm still listening to the Live Tour, so
you also have to run up to your tee shots.
Money talks. The last thing I'll say about the Live Tour is that like the competition thing. Like we talk about wanting to see competition. The first one was in London, it was on YouTube. The reason I always felt like it could stick around is because anything with money, not to get political, but like they're just going to try to normalize things. You know what I mean? They have enough money to normalize it until people get tired of it, and so something's going to happen, and people are like, oh, okay, yeah, it's the Saudi tour. It's just going to stick around because pockets are so deep.
And I also think that unlike other sports, I mean, you talk about like the XFL, the USFL, like whatever, the alternative leagues that we've had. When you're talking about a team sport, you're watching the overall quality of the game is worse. Bryson is just a guy. Like you're going to watch Bryson play good golf or bad golf on a PGA tour, on this course, on that course, whatever. It's like, I think that it also has a potential of working because it's like, you're just seeing a man versus a course. Like that doesn't really like, sure, maybe it's not going to take as much to win a tour when the fields are not as big, when the fields are not as quality. But it's like if DJ or Bryson or Sergio or any of these guys goes out there and shoots a 59, they shot a 59. You know what I mean? It's not like they did it against B League courses or B League players. It's like you play great golf, you played great golf. So I think that gives it a potential of working as well.
Now, I also feel like people are just, and this is a golf community that I follow pretty closely. Like everyone wants to poo-poo things that are brand new. Like they came out and did this and they didn't have this or this. I'm like, well, this is a brand new thing. Let's give it some time to see how, like, the logos are bad. Admittedly, the names of the teams are not good, but
yeah.
like, you can fix those. These are all fixable things. I think the idea of a team thing could be kind of cool, but the players need to care as much as they do on the PGA Tour, where these events, like, history really matters. Now, this is the one thing that they don't have on their side, is that, like, anytime you win an event, it's like, it's really cool for Charles Schwartzel to win an event. He won $4 million. That's more than he's made in the last 4 years on the PGA Tour. How do we as fans get invested?
And it's so golf too, to just like hate newness in general, right? Like a guy wears a hoodie on a course and people start a blog about like an anti-hoodie blog.
I mean, I'm watching this because, I mean, it's cool because Andy's engaged in golf for the first time in a long time. I'm engaged.
Ever.
There's a lot of talk. You saw, Greg Norman is a polarizing figure. Roy McIlroy wins on Sunday and does like a not so veiled comment about, I now have one more win on the PGA Tour than some other guy, which is, alluding to Greg Norman. So there is a little bit like, maybe you have like what are the wrestling leagues, WWE, like maybe get a little of that going, a little.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
Let's get a
little. Tune in
talk.
to Tug and I's new every Thursday podcast, Live and Let Live, the our brand new Live Tour golf podcast.
Hey man, you get that's where your moral quandary. Quandary, is that the word? What quandary? There we go. That's where your moral quandary comes in. If you start that and then you get that Saudi sponsorship money.
Yeah.
There's where your dilemma comes in, Tug. Because I can tell, like I said before this, I can tell just by looking at you, you have 3 young kids.
My room with no pictures on it.
Yeah.
I got to ask you though, completely non-sports related, because that's what I do. How's the mac and cheese game going with the kids these days?
I got to tell you a story. I don't know if I've been on this year, and but so I got a physical in January, and I weighed 254.
Wow.
Yep. And I said, enough's enough. guys.
254. Now you carry your weight like significantly better. Like, I mean, 250. If I was 254, I'd be gigantic. You've always looked,
254, Joe.
254 is huge.
How much of that 254 was the leftover mac and cheese that your kids never ate?
It was 54.
You're like, doctor, I got 54 pounds of mac and cheese on me.
But I went away from that. I was like, guys, my fighting weight's got to be 225, 230, something like that. So I was like, I got to lose 25, 30 pounds. And so immediately stopped drinking for 2 months. And like the first 2 weeks, I think I shed 15 pounds just from
wow.
I sipped on some Miller Lites. I mean, I'm not going to lie, because Miller Lites is an incredible beverage. That was my cheat day drink. But I also decided, like, I can't finish off my kids' meals. Can't finish off the mac and cheeses, the nuggets, the juices or whatever. And I just tried to be a little bit more rigorous about, like, going back to the gym. I don't know if the pandemic life just crushed me. I think about this, not to get too real about life, but like, I think my pandemic life was much more traumatic and stressful than I let myself believe it was. And so just the grind of being with kids all day and like watching, like making sure businesses were staying alive. Like, I just didn't care. I was eating whatever, just to comfort myself, drinking whatever to comfort myself. And then like, finally I was like, okay, we have a little bit of a better standing on life. Let's readjust. But I was reminded by this because this week my kids are out of school and I feel the stress coming back from being with kids all day. They're not in camps. And I'm like, just trying to survive the day. And I'm like having a martini at 5 o'clock or, whatever, a quick nugget, you know what I mean? So that was, it was just an eye-opening thing. I was, my doctor was like, you need to come in for like blood tests. Your 254 is not good for you. So yeah. So anyway, that's the story.
We'll talk. Just know we're here to support you. If you ever need a getaway and you want some low calorie chili, you can come to Cincinnati.
Is there a diet Skyline?
No. Cincinnati and diet. I don't think those go together at all. It's been, I'm a couple years in now here. It's been interesting to see how
Applebee's don't go 1 for 20, Doug. It's 2 for 20. It's 2 for 20 at Applebee's.
Yeah. So anyway, it's exciting times. We feel like we're about to hit the doldrums of the summer sports season, but we have such a nice run. I know you guys have hockey, hockey correspondents weighing in, but I thought the game last night was awesome. I mean, there's like, we're hitting a little cool zenith of sports before we get into don't get me started on the Little League World Series. I don't want to watch that, guys.
Well, that's the thing. You're right. We're hitting a nice stride, and I'm prepared this year for football. Joe's always joking how I am like your Mr. NFL guy, but it always hits quicker. Like, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, this year I'm not going to let it just creep up. A lot of times it just creeps up. This year I'm like, okay, it's coming.
I love that Andy goes, I'm not going to let it creep up. The dude sends me NFL news every single day via text.
I can't get enough. I look at the Deshaun Watson tracker. I'm just like, what's going on now? What's happening? And obviously being in Cincinnati, like it's look, man, we all know my history, but I'm in a city where the team went to the Super Bowl and you got Burrow. It's fascinating to be around people and see how turned they get, especially when the Reds are such a dumpster fire. But Tug, we were really glad to bring you back on. And look, man, like I said, you ever need a getaway?
Listen, I want to watch Joey Votto do TikToks, so I'm coming back to Cincinnati. I want to hang with you. I want to watch your runs. It's been a while since we've connected over your marathon status, so there's a lot for me to catch up on. I did make it to Chicago for the first time ever last month. Well, not ever, but like multiple day trip. Made it to Wrigley, so I'm falling back in love with the Midwest, and now Cincinnati will be next on my list.
I love it. Well, I not to disappoint you, I have not been running. We talk about life decisions. I got a pretty serious lady in my life now, and Joe knows this. We're actually we're looking at homes. So like we're to that point. So maybe I can get a Tug suite in a new house. Just, knowing how just being around my brothers with like multiple kids like you, I think the vacation for you would just be sleeping in this room for like 3 days. Like that's what
100%.
Someone like you probably needs.
100%. I mean,
king size bed though. The guy's over 250, 2.5 bills. Get him a California king for Tug.
It was unbearable to see that number.
But probably added a couple of yards to your tee shots. Couple yards off the tee.
My club head speed has gone down a little bit since I've sprung.
Tug, where can the dirt balls follow you? Old dirt balls, new dirt balls. Where can they check you out online?
Tug Coker on Instagram and on Twitter. And I just want to say quickly, give me two. So we've talked about the Live Tour. The U.S. Open's happening in Brookline this week.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, we need a quick Tug, things to look for.
Did we lose him right
golf
there?
Fans. I said baseball because I think about the Red Sox. But Rory McIlroy, public enemy number one maybe of the Live Tour, has been playing so well this year. He finished second in the Masters. He won last week. He played well. He played well at the PGA last month. I think like that would be an incredible story. He's actually his first round. He's tied for first right now at -3. Can Rory win his first major in 8 years? Public enemy number one against the Live Tour. Be one of the first people, maybe ever, if not in a long time, to win 2 weeks in a row. His game is as good as it's been in years. Can that happen? But what I love right now, what we're seeing, the thing about the Live Tour, 54 players, various levels of quality and talent. On the other side, the PGA Tour is stacked, Andy. Personalities aside, so much talent. As talented as the PGA Tour has ever been. Because of that, I think it's hard for people to see like people come out of the woodworks to win. There's just too many players, like Justin Thomas winning, Scotty Scheffler winning the Masters, Rahm winning last year. We're just so loaded with young talent. I see that trend continuing. Just a quick look at the leaderboard since we're taping on Thursday. Morikawa finishes -1. If the lead's at -3 in McIlroy, Morikawa's at -1. Rahm's at -1. Just for fun, Matsuyama's at even. Xander Schauffele's at even. There are a couple Live guys lurking. 2 people of interest. Kevin Na, -1.
But
one of the most interesting guys from the Live Tour, James Piot, who was last year's U.S. Amateur champion. He's 23 years old, forgoes his amateur status, becomes a pro, qualifies, joins the Live Tour. He's one of the people that we're kind of monitoring because it's not a put out the pasture player. It's a guy who gave up his PGA Tour career essentially to play in the Live Tour. Is -1. If a Live Tour young guy were to win the U.S. Open this week, what would that do? That to me is
the Live Tour is like the cryptocurrency of golf tours.
It really is. That's a good podcast title right there. Because that to me is really interesting. The two guys, Taylor Gooch, young guy, really talented, jumped to the Live Tour. James Piot, very interesting story. As I said, U.S. Amateur winner last year. So there's a lot of great stories. And guess what? Will Zalatoris, -1. He's just always lurking. Since he's become a pro, always lurking at majors. And he's doing it again, tied for 10th after round 1. Adam Scott, the guy who's been rumored to be attached to the Live Tour, not right now, but eventually.
Any relation to Michael Scott?
Maybe distant cousins.
Okay. Just wanted to verify that.
So tons of great stories, even some amateurs, kind of lurking. I think it's going to be an awesome week for golf.
Give me
to watch that as the chaser to a great day on Sunday.
Give me a quick tug nug about the golf course, because that's my favorite part of watching golf now that I play, is like appreciating the courses as I watch them. Talk to me about this golf course.
This is in Brookline, Massachusetts. Very interesting. I mean, this will be fun for Andy. So it's one of the original 5 courses that made up the USGA. It's one of the oldest courses in the country, along with Chicago golf club in Chicago, Shinnecock Hills in New York. This one, and there's 2 more that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But what's interesting about this, the history of this course, held the U.S. Amateur in like 2013. Matthew Fitzpatrick won. So keep an eye on him to sort of relive his glory days from a few years ago. 1999, it held the Ryder Cup in the greatest comeback by the U.S. over Europe, with Justin Leonard hitting an absolute bomb. Also, the only Tiger win in the Ryder Cup in like 22 years of play. The only time he won, 1999. I hope that's right. That is his only win, but was at Brookline and the Country Club. And the other thing that's interesting about this course is there's actually 27 holes.
Did Tug freeze? Did we just?
Yeah, you know, we were battling him throughout at times
To this club, and they're using a composite of different holes. Was I breaking up?
Yeah, you broke up for a minute there.
Where did I break up? Where'd you lose?
27 holes.
27 holes. So it's a composite of those 27 holes. This tournament. It's going to play like 15 holes of one course and 3 holes of another course. And one of the holes, they're actually using the tee box of one hole, the fairway of another hole, and then the green of another hole.
Wow.
You actually hit a ball over one green that they're not using onto another green, just to add distance to these courses that are over 130 years old. So I think it's a really interesting looking course and tons of history. And I think it's going to be, I think the Vegas sets the line at like, it's a very low scoring projection, like 3.5 is like the.
I think we're battling some tech issues with you now, Tug. I think
winner of the U.S. Open. So for you to just,
it's so funny. He just fast forwarded the. It sounds like the minute you start talking about the non-live tour, the Saudis are like just going to hack his internet. You there?
No. I'm there. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think.
Right, sorry, guys.
Your video is not matching with your audio. But yeah, I think we should maybe wrap it up. This hopefully we can get this connection going.
Yeah, sorry guys. I just want to say that Vegas set the line at -3.5 as the winning odds for over under for the event. So that's for you degenerates out there.
-3.5.
I'm pretty sure. Double check that. Yeah, it's pretty low. It just shows you it's gonna be a real test out there this week. So.
Yeah, interesting.
Apologies for my my internet from some undisclosed location.
It's all good, Tug. We are always happy to have you on. We're
so happy to have you, Tug.
Happy to hear
joining us.
Nonstop Tug nugs.
I hope Joe's prediction is right. We see Celtics in 7. Regardless, Andy, I'll see you soon. Joe's golf tee it up. And,
absolutely.
Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
All right. Much love back, Tug. Take care.
Bye, guys.
There we go. Tug Coker.
Tug Coker out. I guess I should I will
gets up and walks away.
Just got up and just walked out. Let's
like somebody leaving their job interview. Okay, thanks guys. Tiny Tug, as I'm gonna call him from now on.
Dude, he just got up and left the screen on.
30 minutes later, some 4-year-old with mac and cheese moseys by, eating some chicken nuggies.
Oh, you know what's funny? Tug's talking about not eating his kid's food. I eat like a kid. Like those are all things I love. Like I love mac and cheese.
Dude, this is my older brother, John. Like every time I go to his place, I'm like, why do you have dino nuggets? Are you like babysitting somebody? He's like, nah, man, I just love dino nuggets. And I'm like, why do you eat like, and he gets like Ortega tacos. And like, I'm like, are you 5? Why do you eat like a kid whose parents went out of town and left him $100 and you walked to the grocery store when you were 7? He's like, I just need some gummy bears and some dino nugs. Like what you're going to get is diabetes.
Yeah. The chicken nuggets have kind of turned into a thing for me lately, like the last year. I don't know. Like, I'm like, it's such an easy, just throw them in the oven, chicken nuggets, late night, you know? And then I keep telling myself, oh, they're from Trader Joe's. Like they're healthier,
yeah.
which is such horse shit. Like
Trader Joe's,
right? Chicken nuggets are chicken nuggets. What it is, it's a great high food.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to do any work. You just
lather and some Frank's Red Hot or something like that.
I'm a ranch guy with the chicken nuggets.
Wow. You don't hot and then ranch?
No. Is that the move?
Yeah, man. It's like the ranch / blue cheese. That's like it gives you a cooling effect on the spicy flavor.
I feel like that doesn't come out well though the next day. Although chicken nuggets in general probably.
Yeah, what are we talking about here? Eating fucking dino nugs.
Yeah.
Not sure if I should add hot sauce.
Well, you know what I'd be washing those down with, Joe? A nice, cold, refreshing Miller Lite.
I just ordered some groceries to be delivered. I'm down to, I believe, 2 bottles of Miller Lite in my refrigerator. I have been patiently waiting to re-up my groceries. And, I ran out of milk. I ran out of cereal. I ran out of cold cuts. I ran out of eggs. I'm like, man, but there's still Miller Lights in the fridge. I got down to 2 Miller Lights, panicked, immediate reorder of groceries. It'll be here 2 hours. I'll get my fresh Thursday re-up of the original light beer, the world's greatest Pilsner. I mean, the liquid that powers my soul, the greatest beer on planet Earth, Miller Lite. Maybe the greatest beverage. Now
couldn't be more of a perfect time, especially in the summer. We are getting extreme heat here in the Midwest. I'm talking
been hot here too.
Mid to high 90s with humidity. My brother the other day, true story. It was so hot. Before he even started drinking his Miller Lite, he was just putting it against his forehead, right?
Yeah.
Cool him down a little. Just
great.
Just took his Miller Lite, put it against his forehead. We were all grilling out. The brothers were over, having some cold ones. And the best part is during the heat, if you don't want to leave your house, if you want to just stay in the air condition, you can have it delivered. Guys, it's that easy to get Miller Lite directly to your house without even leaving the comfort of your own home. So next time you're getting ready to enjoy cold ones with your crew, go to MillerLite.com/dirty sports to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
I'll tell you another tale of Miller Lite success, Andy. So this weekend, Eddie Ift's son is having a birthday party. They're doing a beach birthday party for him. And as you know very well, here in Los Angeles, you're not allowed to drink on the beach.
Correct.
So there's all this talk. It's gonna be a lot of adults there. And I was reached out to as sort of the unmarried, still drinks with regularity guy. Like, hey, can we drink on the beach? And I was like, honestly, probably not. Like, I know it's the land of the free, but try bringing an alcoholic beverage to the beach in Los Angeles County and coming away without a fine or with your life. I was like, you probably shouldn't. And then Eddie's wife said to me, well, maybe instead of drinking at the beach, maybe we should do an after party. Cruz's first kegger. Should we throw a kegger at the house after? And I was like, I got you. So went online, ordered a keg of Miller Lite. I will be having a Miller Lite keg party this weekend.
Amazing.
So glorious. How long has it been since you were at a kegger, Andy?
It's been a while.
Man, I cannot, honestly, it's good. Like tapping a Miller Lite keg in the California sunshine in the summer. I'm more excited about that than I am at a potential game 7.
Yeah, that'll be nice, especially coming out of that tap, right? Something about that keg beer brings great nostalgia. Like, right? Like you think of high school, you think of college, you think of parties.
Yep.
Well, that should be a good time.
Oh, it's going to be great.
We do have an update on hockey because we are in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yes.
So
game 1 was last night.
So Ryan said this is our last 2 call from him because we're in the final. So he just wrapped up the conference finals in the call, and then he's going to do the second call, which I believe, I don't know if this had game one on it, but I'll be honest, I haven't listened to him yet. Let's get to our NHL update from Ryan Klatt.
Hello, Dirty Sports. Ryan Clatt calling in once again with your hockey update. 2 calls again today. This will probably be the last time for that. I wanted to do everything in one, but couldn't quite get it to fit nicely. So I'll do a recap of the Eastern Conference Finals in this call and then do a Stanley Cup preview in my next call. Okay, let's do it. The Lightning got it done once again. Their 11th straight series win. Rangers, you had them up 2-0 in Game 3 with a 2-0 series lead, but it just wasn't meant to be. Lightning reeled off 4 straight wins. Game 6 was a nail-biter. The Rangers tied the game 1-1 late. It's looking like overtime, but Steven Stamkos comes right back down the ice and scores just 21 seconds after the Rangers goal to crush their momentum. I'm ready to say it. This Lightning squad is the greatest team I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. Hockey's always had a ton of parity since I've been a fan, and now we've got a team on the verge of a three-peat. That's something that Gretzky and Lemieux or those great Red Wings teams never even did. So great stuff. For Rangers fans, don't fret too much about this one. You got a great team. They're going to contend for years to come. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win the Cup within the next 4 to 5 years. All right. Stanley Cup final preview coming up.
All right. I like it.
Okay. Stanley Cup final. Avalanche, Lightning. Oh, boy. I don't think you could have handpicked 2 better teams to play against each other just from an entertainment perspective. And what's great about it, both teams' 4 players is pretty much all homegrown talent and built by Hall of Fame players. You got Joe Sakic, GM of the Avalanche, and Steve Yzerman, no longer with the Lightning. He's GM of the Red Wings now, but he did build most of the important pieces of this team. So kind of a cool storyline there, but let's get into the series. What's going to happen? Forwards, very comparable, pretty much a wash, but maybe give the edge to the Lightning based on experience. Defense, Colorado's got the best defenseman in the game in Cale Makar. Solid pieces around him too. I'll give the slight edge to them, even though Tampa has Victor Hedman, one of the best to ever do it. And goaltending isn't that close. Huge advantage Tampa Bay. Vasilevsky is the best goaltender in the world. He's going to go down as one of the best of all time. You put all that together, and my brain says pick the Lightning, but Colorado was my pick to win before the season. I've been riding them all along, so I'm going to stick with them and say Avalanche in 7, because why the hell not? Should be a good one. Say what you will about hockey. I know it's not very popular for you guys down there, but you cannot deny the Stanley Cup is the most glorious trophy in all of sports. A trophy that I, your hockey correspondent, has drank out of. What a thrill that was. Can't wait to see who's going to hoist it. All right, stay dirty.
So since that call, Colorado, game 1 win, correct?
Correct. 1-0 Colorado.
Oh, it was 1-0, huh?
No, 1-0 in the series.
Oh,
sorry.
Wasn't it 3-2?
Yeah, it was 4-3 or 3-2.
I don't know.
I thought I saw it late 4-3-3.
That's what Ryan's here for. I clearly am not watching any hockey.
4-3. Yeah, it was late. It was. I saw a late tying of the game at 3-3, and Avalanche score 4-3 to win.
So we've battled.
And absolutely no doubt about it.
So
Stanley Cup, best trophy in sports.
Yeah. Oh, hands down. So we have a natural disaster battle.
Exactly.
The Lightning versus the Avalanche.
Yes.
Which, like, head to head, who wins that?
Two non plural teams. You don't get that often.
Yeah.
You don't get the, Lightning Avalanche.
Like, you'd rather be struck by, you can live if you're struck by lightning. Avalanche, you're dead.
No, you can survive an avalanche. People have survived avalanches.
Bro.
I'd love to know the percentage of people that survive an avalanche compared to the number of people who survive a lightning strike. I'll tell you who's for sure rooting for the Avalanche, and that is Martha Stewart, who, according to her at least, has been struck by lightning 3 times.
What?
Yes. Did you not know this?
I did not know this.
Yeah. Martha Stewart has, according to her, been struck by lightning 3 times. Martha Stewart. I'm telling you.
This sounds like who's the leader of North Korea? Kim Jong-un?
I know.
You know how he says he always gets holes in ones?
Yeah.
This is like a Kim Jong-un. Is that his name?
Yeah. Believe it or not, Martha Stewart has been struck by lightning 3 times in her lifetime.
Bullshit.
I call bullshit too. Martha recently revealed she's back on the dating scene. Talked about a pretty unique fact while playing Two Truths and a Lie with Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, it's crazy. I think it's actually good for you if it doesn't kill you. I think it's good for you. Star went into detail about 2 supposed times during which the natural phenomenon quite literally attacked her. Once it came out of my water faucet, I was leaning against an iron sink. I saw lightning go down the pipe out in my garden and came in through the water and hit me right in the stomach, threw me on the floor. My ex-husband found me. I was alive, but not very comfortable. The second time involved her window. A lightning bolt came through my skylight in my house. I just attract electricity. I'm so powerful. She didn't bring up details about the third time she was struck by lightning, but she did say that the overall, it feels horrible. So far, she's given us 2 times, both of them through some sort of object.
As the kids say these days, sus.
You sus, Martha Stewart.
That's totally sus. 100% sus. Like, does she try to get more street cred with that? You've already been to jail. She's already got the.
Meanwhile, her best friend Snoop Dogg's like, Martha Stizzle's been struck by Lizzle multiple tizzles. You're like, okay, Snoop, why are you friends with Martha Stewart? What is this?
She's 80. She's dating again.
I don't know when that article's from, but yeah, at the time she was 80 and dating again.
Her and Snoop have to have gotten high together, right?
For sure.
100%.
Yeah. For sure.
3 times.
She's like the third time I didn't want to talk about it on Ellen because it was a family show, but it came through Snoop's bong. It struck Snoop's bong. It hit me right in the mouth.
We had a wicked storm the other day. I was concerned. I don't even know it's not even the breaker. Whatever in the back, it was kept sparking from the tree branches on the wires. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I actually was thinking about that. I was like, what if you got struck by lightning?
Yeah.
Yeah, but those aren't like lightning from the sky.
I mean, it is lightning. No, but I agree with you. That's precisely what I just said. Yeah, it's not like a direct hit. It's out of a faucet.
It sounds like she was just on some edible or some shit. Like, you got so baked, Martha Stewart. Snoop gave you like 100 milligrams in a chocolate bar or something, and you thought you were struck by lightning.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know. One second I was doing dishes. The next second I was waking up on my kitchen floor. Yeah. You OD'd, Martha.
Yeah. It's like that time on 420 a few years ago when I got so high when we went to the Nationals Dodgers game, when I came home and was lying in bed and I thought a shark was going to attack me.
Yeah. Let's from now on refer to Andy Ruther getting too high as, oh man, last night I got struck by lightning.
There's a lot of elements to the Andy Ruther too high. There's the too high Aaron Rodgers Lions Thursday night football game, and there's me getting too high because I had 10 milligrams of a gummy.
Yeah. Now I said it to you yesterday. How about this? Aaron Rodgers is dating a witch. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw that. It was a meme, but is he really dating a witch? She definitely looks like the chick from Game of Thrones. What happened to his other girl?
Well, they broke up.
Shailene Woodley?
Yeah. They broke up. They put out a statement a couple months ago. They're still friends, apparently. But it turns out the liberal actress did not want to date the anti-vaxxer.
Well, I think you're simplifying. I don't know if a lot of times people who have they can get along with, they might not see eye to eye politically. Hold on. So I'm reading this chick. Blue, BLU, describes herself. Says she's not a witch.
Well, that's good.
This is the headline from the New York Post from 6 days ago. Aaron Rodgers' rumored girlfriend Blue denies identifying as a witch. Maybe she'll be at that store down by where my girlfriend lives in Covington, Kentucky. Which, by the way, I forgot to tell my girlfriend this. I saw the owners of the witch store walking out. They had it looked like they were going to a party. It's a man and a woman. No, I don't know. If you look at their website, they don't identify as boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife, partner. I don't understand witchcraft terminology. Anyway, they had party snacks, and I was walking Roscoe, and I thought it was so funny. She had a little tray full of small sandwiches, and I was like, "What the fuck is?"
They were actually big. They were actually full-size sandwiches originally, but she was like, "Alakazam." A lot of people think she cut them into mini sandwiches. She's like, no, if you look, all the breads still have the crust. That's because I was like, abracadabra. Make my sandwiches smaller.
I couldn't stop laughing, Brain. I was like, where the hell are these two? You can't be a witch. And then you got a little party tray. You're just
my friend Blue is now dating a footballer. Abracadabra, make my sandwiches smaller.
And they're friendly too. She's looking at Roscoe and smiling.
A good witch.
Saying hi to me. And I'm like, you don't really seem like a witch. By the way, can I get one of those ham sandwiches? Because those look delicious.
She was like, do you want me to bring it back to full size? You're a growing boy. She's like, I actually shrank them for your friend Tug because he's at 254.
I was just about to make a Tug joke. You beat me to it. I was just about to make a Tug joke. Dude, you were roasting him pretty good. I can't believe you got up to 254.
But you know what? I will say this. Tug is a big guy. I mean, Tug's like my height, but Tug is a big dude.
Yeah.
To me, Tug's calling me right now. Is he calling into the show? Hello.
Yeah, buddy.
We're still on, but we were just talking about you.
Oh, I just wanted to do
what's that?
Well, let him know he's on live right now, Brando. You can't just not let him know.
Should I retaping that stuff for you guys and send it over?
No, it's fine. We just cut out for a few seconds.
Okay, cool. All right, that's all.
You got it.
I'll talk to you guys later.
What a perfectionist.
The ears were burning.
What a perfectionist. Tug wants to retape 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there. I'm like, Tug, no. Judging by the stress you've been through, I mean, yeah. I don't retape. No, man. Get some sunlight. That's what you need to do.
Get out of the bunker.
Jesus Christ.
From now on, we can solve this problem by having you go live with us from above ground. It's like I'm in a hole that I dug under my basement.
You know what I love about this show is there's so many calls, there's so much sports shit going on, and we're like, no, let's talk about witches and sandwiches for the next 10 minutes. Fuck everything else.
Sandwiches.
But I got something sports and food related to discuss.
Okay.
Little Caesars with a massive
this
move.
Is such an Andy Ruther story.
This is the most Andy Ruther story ever. When I saw this, I was like, oh shit. Little Caesars, who in the words of my significant other said, I didn't even know they were around anymore, which by the way is a diss. I don't appreciate it. Little Caesars, everyone thinks is down and out, is now the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
And I guess it was pizza. How long was Pizza Hut the official sponsor?
So Pizza Hut was the last 4 years. Okay. Before that, 8 years of Papa John's. And then he got drunk and racist. So
I don't think he got racist.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I shouldn't have.
I've had too many drinks, feeling a little racist. Okay, so we had Pizza Hut. You know, I actually as far as fast food pizza goes, I do like Pizza Hut. I used to be a way, way, way bigger Pizza Hut fan when they had the Pizza Hut buffets. I'm a Pizza Hut buffet stan for back in the day. Just go into the little, buffet hood, get yourself some Pizza Hut pizza, get yourself some dessert pizza when it's over. But now you know this about me. I've maybe eaten Little Caesars twice, 3 times in my whole life. The very first time was with you when we went and got a hot and ready. And I have said that model is still the dominant model. If you're making fast food pizza, it should cost $5 and it should be ready to go when you're there.
Well, inflation.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
I think it's only $5.50 or $6 now.
Oh, okay, great. I was going to say, is it now like, $14 hot and ready?
I know it went up.
Thanks, Biden.
Fucking Biden, man. Oh man, never mind. No, I was wrong. It definitely went up more. $7.49 now for a large hot and ready pepperoni.
It's still so reasonable though. So reasonable. I mean, remember back in the day, it was like if you ordered like a pizza, you just like order a pizza from your local place, or you go to like the guy comes, you give him $10, maybe give him 15 of the tip, whatever. I mean, now you order like Domino's delivery. Dude. Like you're not getting in and out of a Domino's delivery for like under $30.
No, you're not. You're not at all.
So I mean, walking into a Little Caesars and walking out
for $7.50,
$8 with
Oh, I agree. Like I agree. Exactly. It's not the best pizza, but like you said, it's
fast
economical.
Food pizza. Like, listen, what's the window for like fast food pizza? Like let's say like a frozen shit, like out of the box, like warm it up in your microwave pizza is let's say that range is like a 0 to a 4, like fast food pizza, like the Pizza Huts, Domino's, whatever. I mean, we're talking about what's the range here? 3 to 6, 4 to 6. Like you're not getting a 7-point pizza from fast food. So like we're really splitting hairs here.
Oh,
how much better is Domino's versus?
Well, I couldn't agree more. If you go to the grocery store and you want like, I guess the top of the line frozen pizza, the most expensive would be a DiGiorno. I don't think you can get a frozen DiGiorno, especially with inflation, for $7.50. So what would you prefer? A Pizza Hut or a DiGiorno?
Yeah.
Now, God forbid you get an Emo's pizza and that dirtball shows up to your house with an AR-15, because that might happen.
Yeah. See, I feel like an Emo's pizza is that crossover. It's that bridge. An Emo's pizza is a bridge from fast food. It's a chain, but it's a bridge from your mass marketed, like your mass produced frozen things to, it's that bridge to like an independent pizza place.
Well, here's what Little Caesars is kind of interesting. They used to be more around the Midwest growing up. And
because it was a Detroit thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's based in Detroit. So like my mom, again, with 5 boys, it gets expensive. And their thing was they don't deliver, but it was the cheapest. So my mom would pick up Little Caesars, right? And that's what we had. And then they went away. And then I didn't see Little Caesars again that I really remembered or like see them around.
I just remember growing up and having pizza. And I was like, where do I get Little Caesars? They were like, not for 800 miles. And I was like, what?
And I didn't see it really again. They like went away when I was in high school. I'm sure there was maybe 1 or 2 in Cincinnati. I don't remember until I moved to California. Because then in California, I was like, whoa, there was one close by me when I lived off of the 101 on North Rampart. And I remember just being hung over after like benders and just walking in there and be like, I'm bringing that thing home to crush. It's a huge win for them though. Anything that's the official partner of the NFL. I couldn't find any details. I would love to know what they're paying for that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be cheap. I think that's a good segue into some calls. We'll do a few calls.
Great.
I do have a response from Alex about the Steph Curry discussion. I want to save that for next episode since we had Tug.
Great.
He's got a couple call response.
How long are we going to go back and forth? Like, what is there?
Well, that's my point. But you told him to call. That's why.
Right. You're right. I did.
You told him to call. I told him that over DM. You know, he's a loyal listener of the show, which I appreciate. And I told him I didn't want to go back and forth over DM with him. Sometimes we're always not.
I did this with Laz the other day too. And I think I don't know if you told me it when Tug was on or if you told me pre-show, but let me just say this. Let me just say this before we play his call next episode, which I'm happy to do. If you think Steph Curry is better than Kevin Durant, I think your opinion is trash, and I will never listen to anything that you say. Good day, sir. Like the end. Like if you think Steph Curry is better than Kevin Durant, you don't watch basketball or understand it. Or if you do watch it, you don't understand it. Steph Curry's not better than Kevin Durant. I'm sorry. He's not. So I told Laz the other day, I was like, I feel like you're trolling me. You know, I feel like it was a tough look for the Warriors fans for years. They had to argue through their teeth that Kevin Durant joining a 73-win Warriors team was like cool and okay. You know, Laz's big thing, sorry for your troubles. But Kevin Durant's better than Steph Curry.
Why don't I just play the call then? I mean, look, there's no point in pushing this. We can, all the other dirtball calls we can get to next episode. I'll just play the call so you can hear it. Yeah. It's only fair to Alex. You asked him to do it. He left the call.
All right, calling back. You told me to call back. Yeah, he's better than Kevin Durant. I mean, what are we doing here? 2016, Warriors beat Kevin Durant, obviously losing the finals. Durant comes to the Warriors. They win 2 championships. Steph had won a championship without Durant. Durant had not won a championship without Steph. And now look at this year. Durant got swept by this Celtics team that Steph is dominating in the finals. Dominating. He's shooting much better. He's shooting more efficiently than Durant against the Celtics. He's averaging more points. He's obviously won 2 games, which is more than Durant can say. I mean, don't act like it's an insane thing to say that Steph Curry is better than Durant.
It is insane.
Steph beat Durant. Durant wanted to join Steph's
team. What are we
team.
fucking talking
Steph didn't want to join Durant's team. Durant wanted to join the Warriors. They win, obviously, with Durant because that's an unstoppable team, whatever. Durant goes to Brooklyn. He couldn't even win a playoff game by himself. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, that is ridiculous. Acting like it's crazy that Steph is better than Durant is a crazy take. Durant's obviously also one of the greatest players of all time, but I would put Steph ahead of him. That's that. Oh, I wanted to make.
Okay, and then he tries to make another point, which I can read, which he sent over DM. But I just want to address
this. Is stupid. Like what? So is Jayson Tatum better than Giannis? Is Jaylen Brown better than Giannis? So Steph beat LeBron, but then LeBron beat Steph. So who's better? Like the idea that we're judging Kevin Durant when he's on a Russell Westbrook OKC team and Steph Curry on the Warriors, dude, like it all gets solved. It all gets solved. Kevin Durant joins the 73-win Warriors team that cannot beat LeBron James and absolutely dominates 2 finals. And Steph Curry defers to Kevin Durant. Steph Curry, here's the thing this is infuriating because here's the thing for Steph Curry defenders. Steph Curry doesn't think he's better than Kevin Durant. You do. The guy you're arguing for doesn't think he's better than Kevin Durant. He's not better than Kevin Durant. It's insane to think he's better than Kevin Durant. This is the Matthew Stafford on the fucking Detroit Lions thing all over again. Oh my God. Suddenly Matthew Stafford became an MVP the second he got out of fucking Detroit. Kevin Durant is better than Steph Curry for going to a finals with that OKC team. I mean, Kevin Durant is better than Steph Curry. The end. Kevin Durant plays some semblance of defense. At least he rim protects. Defensively, in terms of their defensive ratings, career-wise, I would guarantee you that it's almost identical. But that's because Steph, gets a lot of steals. But Kevin Durant has been at times in his career a great defensive player. Steph Curry has never been a great defensive player. Now, no one's saying Kevin Durant is smarter than Steph Curry. No one's saying Kevin Durant is a better GM than Steph Curry. To be totally honest with you, the only reason Kevin Durant is on the Brooklyn Nets now with Kyrie, terrible decision, is because you guys didn't fucking appreciate him when he came to your team and saved you from getting embarrassed by LeBron James repeatedly. You don't have 3 titles if it's not for Kevin Durant. You have 1. You have 1. Without Kevin Durant, LeBron James nutsacks you guys. He sleep masks you. That's it. The end. That's why he was there, to get Steph Curry more championships. And you know how we know he was better? Because he ran away with the 2 finals MVPs. Steph Curry wasn't even consideration for those finals MVPs. Steph Curry does not think he's better than Kevin Durant. This is an embarrassing take.
Well, look, man,
it's an embarrassing take. You actually have a better argument that Steph Curry is top 10, and argue that, like, including Bill Russell in a thing of the best basketball players of all time when he was going against 5'11" dudes in black and white, and arguing that, you know, Wilt Chamberlain, yeah, okay, maybe he could be the player he was today, but he wasn't. So what are we really arguing? Like, argue the modern era of basketball is better than the olden era, and the idea that Steph Curry isn't one of the greatest. That's a better argument than he's better than Kevin Durant. He's not. He's straight up not.
So in the 2017 NBA Finals, Kevin Durant was the unanimous MVP. He received all 11 votes. I don't have what he got in 2018, but again, he was unanimous. I mean, look, I would just say this to Alex. I would say, I think your bias is what's clouding you. This is just my take. I think Durant obviously was an added piece. Steph's been there from the start. He obviously has had a great career, and he's grown up in front of you. He's grown up in front of all the Warriors fans. And I think that's where the bias comes in. I think the argument is over because when they played together, who won the MVPs on those teams?
But just who was the fucking better player?
Yeah. Like, overall, he's just a better player. He is. And again, as a guy who I consider myself like a sports historian, or at least within my era of being on this earth, I love to read about it. I love to analyze it. It's very similar to the Shaq Kobe thing, where Shaq gets all 3 MVPs because he's the most dominant, important player. It's just true.
What?
So
Kevin Durant is with the Golden State Warriors for 3 seasons. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what were those years? 2016, 2017, 2017?
17, 18, 19.
Okay.
And he got hurt, obviously, 19 in the finals against the Raptors. He got hurt that playoffs multiple times.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's close. I don't think anyone in that team is going to argue who the alpha was. You know, they added Kevin Durant, and he instantly becomes the finals MVP. It doesn't take anything away from Steph's greatness.
Value over a replacement player for those 3 seasons. Just those 3 seasons. The 3 seasons they played together in Golden State. Kevin Durant, 16.4. Steph Curry, 15.1. You're on the same team. Kevin Durant's more valuable on the Warriors, joining Steph Curry's Warriors over the 3 seasons he played with Steph Curry than Steph Curry was on his team. That's a statistic, not an opinion. That's a statistic. Kevin Durant joined a Warriors team for 3 seasons in the middle of his career, a team built around Steph Curry, and for those 3 seasons was a game and a half more valuable than Steph Curry.
I just don't think there's really an argument here. Like you said, you can argue the Steph top 10. You can argue he left the second call, Steph for Scottie Pippen. Those are good arguments. You can make, you have some points on those things, but on this one, I just don't think you have a point. I just think you're being biased because you're a Warriors fan and Steph was there from the start, and Durant came and he brought baggage with being made fun of, how he handled social media, the burner accounts. Obviously, he's the butt of a lot of jokes. I think
there was an era of the NBA. There was an era of the NBA that is now over. There was the LeBron era of the NBA. There was the LeBron era of the NBA. Every year, LeBron would go to the NBA Finals. In that era, LeBron got to an NBA Finals, went to 6 games with Timothy Mozgov and Matthew Dellavedova starting, because the other 2 somewhat competent players on his team were out. He went to game 6, should have won that finals MVP. The next year, the Warriors go 73-9. LeBron James beats them. Draymond Green goes to the parking lot, crying, calls Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant wins 2 finals MVP in dominating fashion as the single best player on a team built around Steph Curry.
I just don't know the counter to that. If he's unanimously winning,
the counter is that he was not appreciated by shithead Warrior fans who will stand their guy. They're so embarrassed by the fact that they couldn't beat LeBron James without bringing in the second best player in basketball to carry Steph Curry around. They're so embarrassed by it that now they're just going to remain Steph stans till the day they die. And soft ass Kevin Durant, who's always been terrible at taking criticism, gets butthurt, leaves, goes to a Brooklyn team that is not good. And now we're going to judge him for wanting to be the single best player. So now it's like, oh, well, if you can't win a game in fucking Brooklyn on a team, by the way, that was a Kevin Durant stepping on the 3-point line away from beating the eventual champs. But now Kevin Durant, when they mortgage their team to go get James Harden and then have to take a fucking shotgun to the face later in the season because James Harden wants to leave because Kyrie Irving is an anti-vaxxer. Now we're going to judge Kevin Durant because he couldn't win a fucking game. So now we're going to judge Kevin Durant because he stupidly tied himself to a flat earthing anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, this is when I just don't think there's an argument.
But with Kyrie Irving not playing in home games this year, Kevin Durant made the playoffs. We forget. Without fucking Luigi, Steph Curry was playing in celebrity golf tournaments all summer, not appearing in playoffs. It's an embarrassing take that Steph Curry is better than Kevin Durant. And honestly, it's an embarrassing take because statistically, they're very even throughout their careers. But 2 things are not even are the quality of teams that they've played on. And if you look at Kevin Durant's playoffs, Kevin Durant doesn't have 9-point playoff games.
Yeah. Well, that's where we stand. I think, again, that's where most basketball fans would stand. And again, my advice would be you're being clouded by your bias towards a homegrown talent that
what they're clouded by is their bias that they needed Kevin Durant, not wanted Kevin Durant, not had Kevin Durant, needed him. And every Warriors fan I know is so ride or die Steph now because his entire legacy is clouded by him needing Kevin Durant to win, not wanting Kevin Durant to help them win, needing Kevin Durant to win. They needed him. Draymond Green went into his car and cried and called Kevin Durant and begged him to join the team. They needed him. That's why they're biased.
Well, we have a lot of calls. Sadly, we can't get to those today. We'll save those for next week. 310-359-8365. That's our hotline. Thank you to everyone who left calls. I love when you guys blow up the hotline. It's always fun to listen to, and I look forward to getting some of those next week. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. Follow me at Andy Ruther. Send us pictures of drinking Miller Lights on Instagram, Twitter. You
send us a picture of you sharing a Miller Lite with your dad.
Yeah, Father's Day.
It's Father's Day. Do it for me and Andy. No dads to share Miller Lights with. Send us a pic of you sharing Miller Lights with your father.
Yeah.
I'm at Joe Prano on all social media, except for Twitter, where I am still at Fix Your Life. I shared it to Dirty Sports the other day. I did a TikTok. I did some Derek Jeter truthing on TikTok after seeing a preposterous Yankees fans, the Alex of Yankees fans the other day. So follow me there. I'm still on Cameo. I'm still at joeprano.com for shows. And that's where you can find me.
Funny side note, Little Caesars follows me on Twitter. We follow each other. Hold on. We follow each other. I DM'd them in 2016 about a partnership with Dirty Sports.
Yes.
They never responded.
They were like, we have bigger fish to fry.
We're
going for the NFL.
I DM'd them July 19th in 2016 about a partnership with Dirty Sports. No response. But they only follow 602 people, and I'm one of them.
Yeah. This is like when Jayson Lite, the Bucks GM, was following you. Make it make sense.
Yeah, what's going on here? I don't know. All right, guys, that is our show today.
Thanks
Jayson
to Tug for joining in.
Yeah. By the way, Jayson Light still follows me. So odd.
Well, he has to. We blocked him on Jameis 1 of 1.
Thanks to Tug, like you said, for coming out of the woodwork, and hopefully he'll be freed someday. Hashtag free Tug Coker. Hashtag mac and cheese Tug Coker.
Mac and Tug.
All right, guys. That's our show. Have a great weekend. Drink those Miller Lights. Stay cool. And as always, stay dirty.